will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-mass.gov. And this is the Human Services Advisory Committee, and it's November 13th. Get the date right. And I'm calling the meeting to order. So, hello, everybody. At this point, Felice, we don't have Hilda here yet.
Okay.
We're not sure if she's coming or not, but we'll get going because at 6:45, Christine will be here. And we want to give her a full time. So the first thing we can do is we do have the minutes from last week. Thank you, Felice. And I am now getting so that I look for them, a little bit before the meeting. So then I will print them and bring them if you haven't had a chance to look for them yourself. Nice and to the point, Felice. But, it really.
I'm working on it.
Yep. Okay. Once you've had a moment to look at them, I will accept any motions concerning them.
The only thing I notice is
correction
on presentations for 1113, there's a small F in family pantry. But I don't think that's material.
Yeah, no.
To the. But that's my proofreading background, those things.
Yes, I would have noted. Yeah. I do see that. I find it in books sometimes. I find things and it's like, I want to send it to the printer. All right. And are there any motions concerning the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 6th, 2024.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes. Is there any discussion? I think we are, they're fresh in our mind, the two agencies for sure. All those in favor of accepting the minutes? Aye. Any opposed? No. So we have accepted the minutes for November 6th. We can file those away for when we go back in time in January at some point. So before Christine gets here, I can start and doing a little bit of background. Tomorrow, we have the meeting with Orleans, and those of us who are going have, she sent me the information, and I sent it on to Mary Jane and Dee and Hilda. One of the things was the Orleans application. And I had said something to Suzanne about it's on the agenda that we should discuss like one application or whatever, but their application, the writing part is fairly similar or simple, but then at the end of it is all this legal, like several different forms and legal stuff that it doesn't match what our form is at all. So that was just interesting, but it'll be an interesting piece of our discussion, I would think. I don't know if they had some situation that caused them to have to add it on or what, but it was pretty extensive. And as Mary Jane said, it's sort of so stiffly and legally written that you feel like it's a sort of off-putting, so that I could just think of a couple of agencies that Mustard Seed Kitchen or Mass Appeal, that it would be either a little intimidating, but the whole idea of it could be, it might make it feel harder for them to apply. I don't know.
They have to answer questions on the legal, or was it?
No, but there were some things to sign and such. And to, like a non-concurrency, with some things.
Sounds like a lawyer didn't have enough work to do.
Yeah. Well, it definitely was done by the town's lawyers. I mean, there's no question that it was done by a lawyer. So, it'll be an interesting piece of the discussion, because one of the things is that we want to see how each town does theirs. So we'll bring that back to the meeting next week, because on the 20th, we only have Independence House, and Lucetta will be coming a little bit later, not like right at 6:45. So we will have time to bring back information from the meeting.
That'll be interesting.
What thing that to bring? I mean, I feel like I'm just following the crowd.
I have copies of our application. I have copies of our application to bring, and that's all I'm bring. I read through this stuff, and I'm made some notes about our process, and that's where we'll start, and we'll see what they have to say, and if we
do you
don't
need us with you?
Yes and no. I mean, I can go and be there, but I don't think it's fine to have other people there. Each, the different towns have some other members from their committees on there that are coming. And it's something might spark your interest as far as maybe some change that we should make. Or we sit there and we listen and we shake our heads, and then we come back and continue on. I mean, I just think it will be interesting to hear, because basically it was Dennis and Brewster and Orleans and us, because I don't think anybody was listed as coming from Harwich. Maybe somebody will come from there.
Yeah.
But they don't, I don't believe, have a committee. Everything there goes through their health department or human services department.
Is there anyone from Chatham, or just?
No, there was nobody listed.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it,
Interesting. Yeah.
And they're having goodies, so we'll get the goodies and
Nice. I'd like to hear an evaluation of that.
Yeah.
And see how that.
The evaluation, the goodies or the goodies?
The goodies, the whole.
Yes. Hi, Christine.
Yes.
Come on in.
Hi.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
Anywhere that feels comfortable.
Throw things at me?
No, unless it's food and you catch it and you take it back with you. That's all.
Everybody on this.
So Felice,
Good.
Christine is here.
It feels.
I know.
It feels sudden.
It is,
Yeah, it is more than.
yeah, I'm not quite ready for it.
No.
Of course, it's been delayed, so.
And I think, yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, we didn't get sort of that gradual, so your body got used to it. It was like, I walked out to go to an exercise class this morning and I went, oh.
I know. I don't mind the cold, it's the wind. It does.
Yes.
Right.
And yeah. It is, and I can get, it's nice. We just need the rain, hopefully. There've been so many wildfires, and that's a whole nother. All right. So this is our committee. Ellen is new this year. This is Christine Menard from Family Pantry. And the rest of us were here last year.
Yes.
And one person isn't here tonight, but
Gotcha.
we welcome you back, Chris.
Thank you.
Do you like to be Chris or Christine?
It doesn't matter, but
Hey,
whatever
you.
comes out is good. Yeah.
Okay. And, it's some of the statistics on the increase or just the money that people don't have for living on the Cape, but also the increase in the number of people who are seeking services is, you know,
Staggering.
Staggering.
Looking
Yeah.
for.
I know,
Yeah.
horrible.
There's been a lot lately. The last 2 months have been pretty crazy.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. And now that they had to try to turn their heat on today.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, there's so many factors that come into this. Like if we haven't had a really cold winter since like 2015, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as we get the cold winter, it bumps up immediately. You know, we're still not up to the point where they can, you know, inflation has tapered off, no question about that. But, you know, that's all fine and good, but the prices don't go down.
Right. No.
They just don't keep going up, you know?
Yes, exactly.
So they're facing that, then they get laid off or their hours are reduced, you know, come October. So that impacts it. And then, so from now until about the 1st of May, we'll see the numbers go crazy. Like we're up in the summer, we're around up about 5-6%, which is pretty normal. And then, you know, now we're back up to 18% over last year. And I think in the next 2 months, we'll do probably 850 to 860 families a week. And to put that in perspective, when I started 9 years ago, a big week was 189. So it's a lot of folks, you know, just going through the process. So yeah, it's just been, it just doesn't ever stop. You know, it's just whatever degree we're at.
Yeah, yeah.
But
the mobile pantry, where does it come to in Eastham?
The COA and the children's place.
Okay.
And that thing has grown like a weed.
Yeah.
That's a lot. There's about 60 families a month that take advantage of that. And I think, you know, your households, when I pulled the numbers this afternoon just to see what your household numbers were looking at, you have about 160 families in Eastham right now that are using the pantry.
Wow.
And 60 of those are part of the COA or the Cape Cod Children's Place. Now, mind you, they can shop through mobile and then 10 days later, they can come to the pantry. So they're not just restricted to the mobile.
Oh,
you know, they can shop both ways, whatever's better for them. Because we only come to Eastham once a month on the mobile.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge part of kind of getting into this community. Because, you know, a lot of them can't get to us, even though
it's pretty far down.
It is, you know, and that's the same thing that we see all the way from Orleans. To put it in perspective, Orleans is the wealthiest town on the Cape, but from a mobile perspective, it has the biggest numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lot of people are house rich, but very poor.
Yeah.
So, but all the lower Cape towns, we kind of treat a little bit differently because you have far less resources than, you know, Barnstable in that area, mid-Cape, shall we say. So, you know, we were hoping to come into another town down here, but they've moved a pantry's coming into their COA, so then that takes us off the hook from one more down here, which is nice. But it's just a question of degrees, you know, how many. The nice thing is we can, if they can get to us, we can feed them. So that's the best part of it, you know.
Because you're still getting enough food from the food bank.
We get enough. Not the last 2 years, we've had to supplement quite a bit more than normally. So we get about 40,000 pounds a week. So that's a tractor trailer load and a half.
That's a lot of hefting.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, we could probably 50,000 would be better. We could do more produce if we had more weight, but we don't. So we end up buying a lot from 2 wholesalers on the produce side, because about 35% of our foods that we distribute is fresh produce.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's been a goal for us for years. We started out at like 13%. Now it's almost 35%. So that's good.
That is good. Yeah.
You know, because then it's, as I always say, it's not the belly filler stuff, you know, it's not high fat, high carb, high sugar. So yeah, we're very happy with that. But yeah, it's just you know, the biggest issue we have is people's ability to get to us, even though we're right smack in the middle of the Cape. If you don't have transportation, it's really difficult.
Yeah, because even if you were using the bus
Yeah.
system,
It's very
then you're
limited.
there and then you have to wait.
And they're better this year. Since COVID hit, they will actually call us and tell us they're bringing people. And we'll know, there's 12 or 18 people on the bus, and then they'll actually wait. Before they would drop them off and they could wait for hours to get
Yes.
picked up again. So they're really trying to help. And even at that, the average run time on a bus route is 4 hours. So that's a lot to ask somebody to do.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
they might have a little kid with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's everybody. They've got kids with them, they've got older folks, you name it. It's always something. But I thought that was pretty nice of the DART bus, because before, like I said, they would just drop them and run. Now they wait for them. So that makes it a little bit easier for them, which is nice.
Yes. Yeah.
And we kind of drop everything when the bus hits to get them done.
Well, if you know that their ride is waiting for
Yeah.
them, basically,
Exactly.
and such, that's
So we kind of
wonderful,
bump them
because
to the head of the block. But
that's an interesting thing that, you don't want to get the company in any trouble, but for people to know that they actually, there is a way to get there, or that they are going out of their way to help people.
yeah,
Do that.
I to be honest, I make a point of saying that for that very reason. I mean, we don't have a lot, but what we have, they really try hard to do the best they can.
Yeah.
We're not an urban area, so you can't have a
No.
bus running every 10 minutes.
No.
But you can make an appointment with them and they'll pick you up and then go take you to the pantry, and then they'll, they do it twice a week where they have a scheduled route to the pantry. So, it's
Yep.
not perfect, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because if you're doing that, just getting to a grocery store would be hard too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It doesn't matter whether it's us or
Wherever.
doctor's appointment.
Yes.
It's still hard.
Because it is,
Yeah.
from this point in Eastham to get down to Stop and Shop.
Yeah. It's not easy.
No.
So-
Our senior center does have the run, and they will go, I think once a month, go to Trader Joe's or something like that. But again, it's a little,
I think all the COAs do a nice job on trying to get people to their spots, but they've only got so many resources too.
yeah. So many drivers and.
Yeah, so many drivers, so much time. So.
Yes.
But either way, it's still, everybody's trying to do a little bit of something. So better than nothing.
Yes, and hopefully.
Sorry, do you think that there's people that don't reach, or?
Yeah, because they can't get to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, if we could feed, I say this without hesitation, there's roughly 25,000 people on the Cape that are self-identify as being food insecure, which is just a fancy way of saying you are hungry, you've been hungry, or you're worried about being hungry, right? We serve about 15,000 of them.
Okay.
So the way we do our business now, we could flex to take more if they could get to us. I mean, there is, what is there, 19 or 20, what did I count, 23 pantries on the Cape, but some are tiny, they're in a closet in a church or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a big one at the top, that's Found Service Center, and then there's us. And then everybody's just pitching in, to try to make up the difference. But there's certainly people, and some people, we've been there for 35 years and they still don't know we exist.
Right.
I was gonna say, how do people know you exist?
I spend so much time. I spend more time on that than I do on raising money. Because like
Unless another agency refers.
Yeah, well, they do.
a lot, if you're already, it's very much word of mouth. And if you're using the pantry, they spread the word like wildfire.
Yeah.
But the problem you have is for people that have never had to use a pantry before. They're not in that circle.
Right.
So they don't know. And if you've never needed one, you've never looked.
Right.
And people say, well, how can this thing exist and we not know about it? I said, because you don't need me.
Right.
You don't need us. So you don't look for us. if you needed us, you would probably look for us.
Yeah.
And I said, so start looking for us.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, people feel kind of bad. I'm like, don't feel bad. I said, just pay attention. And because I would say somebody, you know, could use our help.
Yeah.
Somebody, I guarantee it, you know, and talk about us. So, you know, COVID was a huge bugaboo on that because a lot of people were needing us, but didn't know that we existed.
Yep. Yep.
Is there also like a stigma that people have?
There is.
You know,
But there's always a stigma.
like their pride, they don't, no, I don't need it, I shouldn't.
Once you come once,
People not me.
yeah. Once you come once, we've got you.
Okay.
Because you
very
make it
nice,
easy and warm
easy.
and welcoming.
It's somewhat secluded. It's not in the middle of downtown. The only other people, in the way we do now, you could sit in your car and nobody would ever see you. So, you know, it's much, much better the way we have it set up now. But yeah, it's all we have to do is get them once. And then we've got them. You know, so that's why, you know, you try to make it as good as you can whenever somebody walks in the door.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So
they'll
anybody
come back.
can walk in at any time, any day that you're open.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to bring, we're supposed to follow the federal poverty guidelines. So for that, if you're a single person, you made over $18,000 a year, you wouldn't be able to supposedly use the pantry.
Over how much?
18.
18?
As a single person.
$18,000?
Precisely.
Yeah.
So, you know, the cost of living is so high here. It's like, that's a joke.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, if you ask me in public, I'll tell you that we do, but we don't.
Yeah.
So basically, if you come to us, all you have to provide is some form of ID, not a picture ID, just some, it could be a library card, for anybody that's going to be on the account, and something with your current address. And then with that information, then you get registered, and off we go. So it's pretty basic. We don't ask about income. Even before, we would ask income, but we never made you prove it. So who cares? You know what I mean? You could come, you make a dime, and I'd say, okay, you make a dime.
Yeah.
So it's kind of silly, but government is the way it is at times. But yes, basically anybody's welcome.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and if the mobile pantry is at the COA and somebody sees that and realizes they have, oh, maybe I should go try to get to the bigger pantry for more things. Because
The mobile pantry is like a big truck.
Yeah, so the mobile pantry was built, we put that into operation 9 years ago. We had what we call an intellectual grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So a bunch of those people got together and they researched every mobile pantry in Eastern Massachusetts and beyond. And then they looked at all the different ways that people do it. And they said, this is how you want to do it the most efficiently. So what it is we have a shopping list, and we partner with the COAs on this because a lot of the COA folks won't use it because they think somebody else needs it more than they do.
Yep. It's very typical.
So the outreach workers are really important to us in the fact that they convince them to use the pantry. So anyway, the outreach worker gives them a shopping list. They fill out the shopping list of what they want. They turn it back in. They send the shopping list to us. We shop their order for them. We tote it up into perishables and non-perishables, gets loaded on the truck in reverse alphabetical order in a refrigerated truck. We come down on Wednesdays or Fridays, depending on where the mobile is. We offload, and so if you have yours at 10 o'clock from 10 to 12, then all the Eastham people would show up at 10 o'clock, and then the COA and pantry staff offloaded into their cars and out the door they go. So it's very efficient.
Yeah.
We should have talking frozen on you as well.
Sure. Oh, yeah. We have that,
You
yeah.
have everything.
We got
Like
it.
going to Stop and Shop.
It's better some days.
Well,
Especially right now, I guess.
oh
when I'm
yeah,
there.
Sunday, it was empty.
I-
The shelves were empty.
I worked for Stop and Shop for 25 years and I'm sure glad I'm not there now.
Mhm.
That's a
Yeah,
disaster.
no, it was pathetic in the
That's
grocery
scary.
store. It was,
So-
and it was a lot of like peppers,
Oh, yeah. they
red
can't get
peppers and
anything
whatever
right
on
now.
sale. There were, I would say, 4 green peppers.
Yeah.
No red, no yellow, no orange.
Well, they
That was
had-
it.
Well, no, they got hacked.
Oh.
They crashed their system somehow. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if I wanna know.
Because you could tell that it was something else
Yeah, it's
because
the systems.
of the big
Yeah,
big
They had a
holes
big
that were
data.
there. Yeah.
they had a big data thing.
And
Yeah.
it was, you could tell
Down
it was
in one of
something
the
else
supermarkets.
and
Hannaford.
it
And
was,
Yeah,
but it sort of felt scary, like, oh my
Yeah, I
God,
think
there's
I'd
no.
have
It is in some countries all the time.
Right.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right. You got that
Yeah.
right.
I've
Yeah.
been at the COA when the truck comes in and I helped unload it a
Yeah.
couple of times, and it's amazing. The organization that there is,
Yeah,
and then when the people come through in line.
we've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have, we're in everybody from Yarmouth down, basically, all the COAs. So except for Truro. But we sandwich them on either side with
Yeah.
E-Town and you guys, so.
Yeah.
And they have a new pantry going into their, right on their property, so that's gonna be
Oh, okay.
really nice.
Yeah,
Cause
yeah.
they were next, but because of that, then we don't have to do that, so.
Yeah.
Covered.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, but it's, I mean, you've got so many volunteers who work in the warehouse. I'm sure in all of that is somebody who is a master organizer from their previous job. And they can, efficiency expert and have,
We are known for our efficiencies, so we have 3 seals, which less
yes.
than
yeah.
10% of the nonprofits in the country have. So we are a service enterprise, which is a very arduous process. It's the bane of my existence, but it proves that you are best in class from a volunteer organization. And then we're a platinum seal, which says that from Candid, which we are best in class for financial transparency. And then kind of the Bible of all nonprofits in the United States is Charity Navigator.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we are 4-star Charity
Which is,
Navigator.
yeah.
Which is
So-
great.
So you really have people look for that to,
Right.
when they go to make a donation.
Right.
Oh, my money is
Right.
used well. Yeah.
So that's that's the outside people looking at us saying, without me telling you that, it's
Mhm.
them saying, kind of unbiased.
Well, but thank you. I mean, it because it takes a lot of work to get those
Oh, yeah.
on your part. But in the end, it is worth it. But at the same time, you've, given, a chance. I mean, it really does help people to know that it is that well run.
You recognize it, for those that know it, it's important. And for those that don't know it, they say, well, at least they've got something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but look, they got something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
got
got 4
something.
stars.
Well,
They got 4 stars at something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, we have,
Take it.
yeah, because we do have a lot of agencies on the Cape offering different services and such at all different sizes in
Yeah.
organizations and such, but so to have gone through and jumped through those hoops,
Yeah.
you can give yourself a good pat on the
Yeah,
back
I
of
was,
that.
when we got the 4 stars on chair, I was,
That's wonderful.
oh
Yeah.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
Because they kept moving the bar. I think I had it, because everything is, you can provide, but then everything has to be documented, right? Or they pull a lot from your tax
Right.
records. And every time I think that we got there, they'd add something to it,
Yeah,
you know, and
I
I'd be
can't
like,
get
ugh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but with not a huge staff,
No.
but you have,
No.
you know, an enormous amount of volunteers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the overhead is consistently 8% or less, which is
That's really good.
best and best. And
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. 8% or less is, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Yeah.
anything below 23% is good,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
but we have 650 volunteers to help, so that's,
650.
you know,
It's amazing. We have these needs on the Cape, and yet at the same time, there are an incredible, so many of the places have these huge numbers of volunteers.
yeah.
So it says a lot, I think, about the Cape in general.
It does.
I'm so impressed with the on here. Yeah, now I moved here 5 years ago and I was in human services in the Berkshires for, 30 years.
Yeah.
And, there's not as much agencies and support.
Really?
Really anything near what, and the need is much higher and it's
Yeah.
much more obvious too.
Yeah.
See it on the street all the time.
Well, I think here you have a mix of the very poor and then
Yeah.
you have the very, that they have means,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So when you have a community that's all poor, it's
Yeah.
harder to raise, it's, cause there's no means to tap from, whereas here we have that. It's super expensive, but there are people that are willing to help, and it's,
Right.
so you always get that push and pull, but.
Right, there's more, what I find is there's more people in the middle, there versus the haves.
And the have-nots.
So there's a little bit of.
In the
Yeah.
middle.
In between.
Yeah, right.
But,
Right.
Right, yeah, and the second glance sale, $700,000.
Yeah. Well, it's a fantastic shop.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah, is
Oh.
it still pretty well stocked during this time of year?
You betcha.
Oh, you betcha. All right.
You'll walk in, you'll start
I
seeing.
gotta get down there now.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw
Yeah.
it again, I went, oh.
Oh, I get over that way and I was like, oh, I guess I better stop.
Yeah, you're toast if you come in because we've got you.
Yeah,
You
oh,
know,
yeah.
Yeah,
You'll find,
You gotta buy something.
you will
Yeah.
find
There's
something.
no one that walks out of there. I don't think I've ever driven into the parking lot and see somebody walking out that they don't have something in their hands. You just can't, Yeah.
28.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great shop.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a whole
oh,
bunch
yeah,
of
but the
those.
variety, I mean, cause it's all the way to furniture way in the back and such, but the
Oh, right.
clothes, they're well organized and
The
the
same thing,
accessories.
because there's people that have means that, will donate a $5,000 table because they didn't
Yeah.
like how it looked.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like, that's a really nice thing,
Yeah.
so, or they get sick of a really nice ring or something.
Oh, yeah, I've constantly looking the door. It's
Yeah.
amazing, but it's also, again, it's welcoming and, you're
Yeah.
basically greeted as you come in and the Christmas things will be out.
Oh, they're gonna be gone in another week, so
Yeah,
you better
so,
get there.
yeah.
It's fast, yeah. But that's part of the sustainability plan because you never know what's gonna happen.
Right.
And so, we have Second Glance, we have a textile operation, which doesn't generate a ton, but it, keeps stuff out of the landfills, it generates money.
Yep.
And then, the reserves that we have are invested for a long term, that the hope is the interest and the dividends that earns, and Second Glance, that pays for the goal is that it pays for the entire food bill. So if the world goes to hell, you have that in your pocket to keep going. And we've run double-digit gains since the day I've been there. I mean, last year was almost 40%. So the year before was 40%. Last year was 23 or whatever the heck it was. And right now we're at 17% up. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I mean, it's just, so you have to have the piece of the pie where you're just not relying on
Yeah.
the goodness of others or town grants or whatever. And we get very, very, very little from the state directly.
Mhm.
We don't get anything anymore. We used to get something for ARPA during COVID, but nothing from the state and not from the feds. So, you know, you have to be self-sustaining or you're not gonna be there for long.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's what we try to do.
Well, we're glad that you finally started coming to us and such. So, you know, and, you know, we are also on a sort of an austere budget, you know, we have been, you know, have limits of what we can offer. But you are on our radar and we, you know, feel it because of, you know, we know that it's a well-run agency and that whatever we give is used.
Yeah. And it all goes, any grant monies like this just goes straight to the food program.
Yeah.
It's just, you're just buying food, you know, we're
Yeah.
not so complicated. You know, we don't have 1,000 different programs, which
Right.
is very intentional. So it doesn't matter what you give, it's just paying for food.
It's paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically what it does. You know, it's simple.
Yeah.
Not so hard.
Well, but thank you very much for coming all the way up in the cold and
Here, you know, it's always fun to come make the trip.
Yes.
See what you guys are doing. I don't
yeah.
get, you know, after the summer's over, I'm not down to this end very often because my grandkids drag me to the Wellfleet to the movies, you know.
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To the drive-in or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do
Yeah.
the drive-in, you gotta do.
Going to the regular movie.
No,
I'll
no,
take
no,
the
no.
drive.
Yeah, the
Drive-in is
drive-in,
so
you
much
gotta
fun.
do the mini golf and do the whole thing.
It's just the bomb.
Yeah.
I had one where I lived growing up and it was so much fun. And then when I discovered this, when I first moved here, I was like,
Well, because there's fewer and fewer of
I
them.
know.
Yeah.
We looked it up. I think there's only like 13 or 14 in the country.
Yeah,
So-
but this one, I mean, they're busy all the time
I
in the
know.
summertime.
Well, they're smart though. They kind of, you know, between the flea market and what
Yeah.
they do year round, it's,
Yeah.
you know, they're kind of a smart move.
Yeah, and then we have the cinemas, you know, for the
Yeah,
rest of the
for the
year,
rest
there
of the
is
year.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Because during the summer, they have, yeah,
I know,
yeah,
right.
but yeah, but you know what?
Netflix.
It's not your home when you're watching it, you're out and, you know,
And it's popcorn.
and they do have
Yeah.
popcorn.
It doesn't even matter what the movie is. I've
It's
seen
the
the worst
popcorn.
movies.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care.
I don't care.
I like the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We drove around last time. We went to like 6 different parking spaces trying to find the speakers that work.
Yeah.
Because my husband's radio in the car doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, so you have, yeah.
So then we
Had to find
You
one
sit
that's
next
still.
to a great big
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
That has those crazy speakers in his truck and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
And then I
Right.
start up and go.
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
So they can hear the air
Yeah.
conditioner going, yeah.
Yes.
And then we forgot stuff for mosquitoes. So we,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
so my car is
It's
all
part of
ready.
Part of the experience.
Yeah, it's part of the experience,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. You
And
can
your
count.
grandkids have to throw up on your feet after all the crap that they eat.
Oh.
Right.
I don't love that part of it. I have actually
Neither-
fallen
neither
asleep
do
on the
I.
ground.
Oh, you know how
I'm
many times
so
I'm in the
tired.
back of the pickup and I say, the rule is you can't get out of the truck.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping and they're like, gee, the movie's over. God.
Yeah.
The parking lot's now empty. No.
Gee.
know, it's
Is there
crazy.
anything else I can answer for you?
I think we're all set. Do you have, yeah,
But yeah,
thank you very
yeah,
much.
thank you so
And
much.
we know you exist and we will keep spreading the word.
Yeah, talk about it, talk about it.
And I've seen, you know, the pamphlets are, you know, out and about.
Good.
You know, the town hall has them, the library, I've seen it, at, you know, post office and such.
It's
but-
always good, you know, just, everybody's welcome. That's the thing you gotta
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
piece that if
Yeah.
somebody, you know, somebody is struggling, if you start, you know, right,
Have
let
that
them know.
conversation. You'd be surprised how,
I have a question for you, because you're talking about stigma earlier, of people, if I were to say to somebody who I think might need it, but wouldn't wanna go, hey, wanna go with me? We'll go to the food pantry and check it out and see what it's like. And I don't necessarily have to sign up, do I, or just?
No.
Or you could like sign up and not get anything.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
You
It
just
depends
sign
on
up.
whatever they do.
Their moral support, you're just
Yeah.
moral support, but that happens all the time.
Yeah, get
All the
somebody
time.
in the door and then they see that
Right.
it isn't.
Once they get in the door and they're signed up and the IDs are scannable and it's very simple, it's done. We got 'em, you know what I mean? And then they see the food that they get,
Yes.
which a family of 4 gets anywhere from between 6 to 10 bags of groceries, depending upon what they want.
It's wonderful.
It's kind of hard not to come back,
Yes,
Yeah.
right,
right?
right.
And then you can go
Especially
to
when your
So do you have
kids
any
are
gauge how
eating.
much everybody gets,
the size of their family.
like the size of the family, so that's just self-reporting, you just say.
No, they have to have an
10
ID.
kids.
No, they gotta have an ID for all
Each
10
kid.
kids, but it could
Okay.
be a mass health card, it could be a school record, it could be a note from a doctor.
All right,
You have to have something to prove that they exist.
okay.
So the first time they go in and they're not sure what it's all about, they just go down an aisle and put things in.
No, no,
No.
no.
So
How
you
does
do
it- how does it
balance.
work?
So there's a big window on the
Mhm.
side of the building. They come to the window and they would say that they're new, first time here. They would then come inside. We have volunteers in the registration room that's all they do is register people.
Mhm.
And what they do is when COVID hit, we took the mobile pantry operation and we converted that to the pantry. So they get a shopping list, and let's say that you have 5 people in your family, so then you would be a 4-bag family. So you would get 4 full big bags, not the little short dinky ones now at the store, but the big old 1-6 bags of non-perishable food. And you choose it on the shopping
Oh, they
list.
choose.
And you can say you can have up to 4 of any of these items because you're a 4-bag family.
Okay.
Then you can pick all of the produce. You can have any of the produce that we have, no matter how big your family is. The meats are just like the others. So if it's a 4-bag family, we have 4 meats. Dairy, all of that is the same. Then the whole order comes together and it comes to the back, and we have a bunch of volunteers that all they do is pick and pack. So it's like just like Instacart at Shaw's. They go around the building. The list is in the same order as the building. So it's very efficient. They go in a circle. They shop the whole order into the bags. Each client gets a deli number. When the order's finished, they announces outside that number 35 is ready. Now they can sit inside and wait if they want, but they can also sit in their car because maybe they got kids and they don't want to drag them out of the car, right? So they say number 35 is ready. They come up back to the window, they grab their order, and they're out the door. That we can do an order in 93 seconds.
Thank you.
And 96.
Unbelievable.
The busiest day we had, there was an order going out the door every 93 seconds. We were slacking at one point, it was like 110 seconds.
Wow.
So yeah.
Takes
So,
you far longer to fill out the form than it
Oh,
does
no,
to shop.
yes. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it takes about 20 minutes, once the pipeline is full,
Yeah.
to get them all the way through. But we shop off pallets, so it's not like you're standing shopping off shelves anymore. So we're never gonna outgrow the building. So after COVID, we surveyed them all and said, do you like the old way better or this way? And just universally said they like this way.
Mhm.
It addresses the stigma thing. If you're shy, you can just sit in your car, no one's ever gonna see you.
Right.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
there's a bunch of good things about it. It's fast, it's efficient. Stigma is not an issue. If you're a mom, it's much simpler. You don't have to drag the kids inside. I have mobility issues, you don't have to walk
Yeah.
around, so.
And you really are thinking about what you're getting as opposed to, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
going to the grocery store. It's like, oh, maybe I'll get that.
Right.
And instead you're filling up your bags with what you really need. And
Right.
then if you still had a little space, you might say, oh, I'll take another one of those.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
right. It's much better for what that they're going to get the food they really
Just
need.
food now, it's not like toilet paper
Toilet paper,
or toilet paper.
menstrual products,
Okay.
HBC items, so toothpaste,
Cleaning.
No cleaning.
Detergent.
nope,
No,
no cleaning, you gotta suffer through that.
okay.
menstrual products, toilet paper, HBC items, so that's shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, and soap. And then, you know, we've got other programs like Toy Day and Turkey Day and, you know, seasonal type stuff. But you get the basics, and what we focus on is things that are expensive. Like menstrual products are incredibly expensive, right?
Crazy.
Do you do Pampers? I have
Do
diapers
diapers.
experience. I was
Yeah, I
trying
bet
to
you
contribute
did.
Oh
to
my
go
God.
to- To go
They're so
down to North
expensive.
Carolina for the hurricanes, and I
Yeah.
went into BJ's to buy Pampers, and I went.
Yeah, I bet you did.
$25 for a box of Pampers.
Yeah, but yes, we do have, yeah, we do have diapers.
You do.
Yes, we do have diapers. We don't do formula because WIC covers
Yeah.
most formulas. But we do diapers, yeah. Yeah, so that's
And
the
formula
expensive
gets
stuff.
tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
formula's a little tricky, but it's more that.
Yeah,
WIC
WIC
is
does
there,
cover it,
so
yeah.
If WIC didn't cover it, we'd work on it, but.
Yeah.
You know, and all that other stuff isn't really mission, but it's just so expensive, and how is it to be equitable if a woman can't, or a person can't afford menstrual products, how is that fair?
Yeah.
That they can't come out of the house a week, a month, you know what I
Right.
mean? So what happens, then they can't come grocery shopping, you know, it's like, it doesn't make sense to us,
No.
so.
Right.
We started that, I think, 3 years ago now, and it's nuts how big it costs. It's probably about right now it costs us about $46,000 a year just in menstrual products.
Wow.
Yeah, but we got a guy that he pays for a bulk of it, then I got another guy that pays for part of it.
I have a guy.
Then we pay for what's left, and somehow or another it's covered,
Yeah.
you know? I got a guy.
You got a menstrual guy.
Right.
Menstrual guy.
Had daughters probably.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
his daughter actually works for the foundation, and she was talking to me one day, and she said, "What do you need?" And I said, "Actually, this is what I need." She goes, "Oh, I'm on it." And this guy can talk feminine products without, now here's the best part, and then I'll get out of here. So when we first started this, my male volunteers were having a stroke. They weren't gonna touch anything, weren't gonna look at anything, so about a year ago, idiots, about a year ago, I'm walking past and they're packing them, right? And I'm hearing them, they're sitting there packing tampons and they're talking baseball. And I went, done.
Yeah.
Right.
We're got over this.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like,
It's
nothing.
Just talk baseball.
They're not even paying attention what they're doing. Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. They could have cared less what they were doing.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there, there's 3 of them all lined up, just packing tampons, and I'm like,
Okay.
we're done. We're all set now, you know, so
Yeah.
you just kind of have to, you know.
Get into it, yeah.
Yeah, for a while.
You know, right. Well, yeah, somewhere in their lives, yeah. They
They have wives, they have girls in their families. What do you think? This is a secret?
Yeah.
You know? And I torment them. You know,
Yeah.
they turn pink. At first, now they don't. I don't bother them because they're pretty good about it. But at first, I was like, get over yourself.
Oh, dear. Well,
right.
thank you
Very
very much.
much.
And
All right, take care of yourself. I stay too. Yeah.
keep going.
That's the one you can count.
Yes.
You got it.
All right. All right.
You know, I worked in a restaurant and you know, I know these people, struggling in the winter, and I can picture one gal with their 2 kids. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I'm gonna ask her if she wants to go for a ride one day.
Yeah.
I think she needs it.
Yeah.
And
And
if she,
in fact, I know she does, because she said to me, you know, dear, I didn't make as much this year as I did last year. And I said, yeah, I know that.
yep. Yep. And yeah, check and see, you know, they might already get some things, but
And the fact that they don't do that cost check about, you have to make under, like,
Right.
X amount of dollars.
So many places make you fill in so much stuff.
yes.
Just like I've seen this stuff like from the assessor's office. It's like page after page after
To
page
get your
to get like
less in-
$200.
Yeah, right, right.
And
Yeah.
Like I could make $200 in the time it would take me to fill in that form,
Yeah,
and it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I did. I unloaded that truck one day. It was unbelievable. The organization.
yeah. Well, there's been enough,
Amazing.
and as I said, I mean, there were people there who stepped back and thought about it, and
Yeah.
they, figured out. And if they looked at how other people do it, and once you've been doing it for a while, you start thinking about how would it be easier? It's like going into Stop and Shop and having to check out your own groceries. Walk down one item into the bag, make sure it's in there, and then come back and do the next one. And it's like, this is no way to run a grocery store. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now, Hadley for homeless prevention, I don't know if she's here, but I don't know if we would see that she was trying to come in.
I don't know. Want me to go check?
We could ask Wayne if,
Does he have a door thing?
yeah, he's right inside there.
She's really does a lot of patients. Really wonderful.
Would we know if Hadley was coming in?
Yes, he would.
Would she appear on the bottom line?
You know, she would appear automatically.
Oh, okay, then.
I'll check though for you.
Oh, coming in on that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but was she coming, but she should be,
She's there?
I don't know.
Oh.
Where is she coming in? On Zoom or the door?
I think in person.
The door's open.
Yep.
Yep, and just releases.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she's,
Yeah,
so
not
thank
by
you,
Zoom
Wayne.
At the moment. But if she were to come by Zoom, it'll just come right up on. me.
Okay, okay. As a state, is a representative from our district to the state house, not on the federal level, on these.
If you need me, Kate, I'll be in the next room.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay, thank you. We couldn't,
So we can
we'll
say.
go back and forth.
yes, yes.
She had no opponent.
No, she had no opponent, so she knew she had it and such. And meanwhile, Sarah Peak was brought into the state level. Well, she's well versed in everything. And she's somebody they didn't want to let go, but I think she was ready to just do something a little different for her. And pray. Well, we lost Beth. I don't know if there's another meeting next door.
It was cool.
Well, she was.
Yeah.
She is amazing. She is a dynamo.
Yeah, we got her, she opened up.
I know. She had fun tonight, talking about this. But it is a lot. I mean, that's what she does daily.
I'm glad they asked as much as they did, and you could explain how it worked.
Yes, right, because now you can feel comfortable and yeah. Well, because it could really make a big difference for the winter time.
They're just gonna have to go every once or twice a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on in.
Hello. Hi, Hadley.
Where do you want me? Should I be down
Right.
here or right here? Okay.
Wherever you want to
By
be.
one of the microphones.
See, I'm not in my usual like professional garb.
good.
It's an evening
And
meeting.
so, yeah.
I have my HBC logo on. That's all that matters, right?
Yes.
By the way.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's exciting.
When do you get sworn in, or are you?
I get sworn in on January 1st.
Nice.
So it's always the first Wednesday of the month of January. So yeah, so it's hard to believe.
Are you gonna have to drive to Boston every day?
No, not
good.
at all. No, it's really, I think especially since COVID, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But basically, my understanding is that you are in Boston on Wednesdays when they're in session and otherwise really only up for like special meetings and stuff. So they want you to be in district as much as possible, especially in the beginning.
Oh, cool.
So,
Oh,
That's good.
yeah, so I'll be doing that and I am going to maintain, I'm gonna scale my role back, but.
Well,
still
because
be-
I noticed that in some of I was looking at the new people that you hired and thinking
Yeah.
that, somewhere in there must have been.
Right, so we've hired a program officer, Terry Barron, who actually you guys might know from the CDP. She worked with the CDP for a long time.
Okay.
But,
Oh, the name is familiar.
Yeah, so she had left the CDP and was looking around at some different options, and we scooped her up to be program officer. So she will sort of step into some of, in fact, you might meet with her next year, for example. She would probably be the person that needs to do this. So, but it's great. I get to still keep some connection. So
Well, it's your baby.
It is my baby. I always say it's like mama bear, like letting go. Now I'm gonna be grandmother. That's what I'm gonna try to do, and just spoil everybody. So we'll see how it goes. But
Okay.
anyhow.
So we have Felice. She's does take our notes for the minutes and such, and she is here by Zoom. You won't see her, but
Hello.
she.
Okay.
Hello and
and we have this-
congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, so marvelous little new item here that when you speak, then she can see.
The owl.
Yeah, the owl. I don't know if you've seen them before, but it really is nice.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Great.
yeah. Thank you for your application. A lot of good information,
So
but
great
overwhelming.
information, isn't it? I know, it's interesting. I was going through this before I came here tonight, sort of getting like caught up on numbers.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty staggering.
Yes,
100 more people.
Yeah,
in the last
and that
year.
was it. Was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but the good news, I mean, I was trying to say that the flip side of it is that people are reaching out for help. Right.
Yeah.
So there is sort of like, I feel like there's a resounding confirmation that like there's a message getting through. People should be coming to us for prevention services.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully some of it is certainly rental assistance too, right? We have people that come in for that program. So, but without a doubt, the numbers are ticking up. But again, kind of a flip side of, you know, it's good that people are reaching out. Rather they reach out than lose their housing or have something else happen.
Right. That they've said something to somebody, either they themselves have seen, you know, that the services are there, or they've said something to somebody who knows that you're there,
right?
To, you know, like somebody at school, and then they say, well,
right,
because I know that between counselors and school nurses, they are often pushing people to try to find the stability for the family and such through and I think that was one of the things that I really, it was just the idea that you're really trying to stabilize their housing.
That's really the focus.
And just to have that happen to then reduce their anxiety, you know, it just makes their life much more pleasant, even if they're still working hard, and they know that at least they're going in the right direction.
Right. No, I think it's really important. And so we keep talking these days about the fact that we're really in the prevention business, right? When you look at our name, right, the majority of the work that we're doing is really around providing those prevention services to keep people stably housed and financially secure. And, you know, we're successfully, you know, in fact, I brought our impact report, which hopefully I think we included it in our grant. There. But, you know, some of these important numbers, which were, you know, just showing the breakdown of the people that we serve. You know, we've seen a big uptick in the ages 25 to 54 as being our biggest growing demographic. And I was looking at Eastham in particular, that 24% of the people we served in 2023 were ages 25 to 44, which also shows you, you know, that's our part of full-time employed workforce.
Yes.
But again, good thing that they are finding connections to find a way to stay here.
Because we desperately need them
really
to be here working.
I know it's so challenging.
And
So what else did I see that I thought was interesting? So 47% of the people we serve were families. 29% were people of color. So we're seeing a more diverse community now across the Cape, right? As more and more people.
That's wonderful.
It is really wonderful, right?
I wish they had homes, but it's
I know.
wonderful that we are seeing more diverse people.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think we're seeing a big cultural sort of uptick in more people coming from different communities. And again, you know, in most cases, people are housed. It's just that they're unstably housed. So people are, you know, moving from a winter rental into a camper. And we just had a story of a woman who was living with her son, her teenage son, who goes to the tech school. She was in a campground situation for the summer. And, you know, staying up until the very last minute and just managed to get into an affordable 2-bedroom unit, you know, thanks to the help of her case manager. But it's those kinds of situations. And she is a home healthcare worker and
desperately needed.
Again, you know, there's something like 500 seniors right now on a wait list to get healthcare. because there's no one available to provide that
Takes
service.
months to get somebody.
Yeah, so I think the more
Yeah.
and more people make that connection, you know, between like essential workers and not just EMTs and firefighters. And police
Right,
officers,
right,
all the
right.
critical,
Yeah.
Right, but it's that
Right.
sort of
many
that
layers
next,
down.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
And so in her case, you know, in Beverly's case, it was a great story where she was actually doing home healthcare work or healthcare work in a facility, but also wanted to be a traveling home healthcare aide, and then was even able to go through our REACH program and work on getting her driver's license and a car. And that was like a big goal, because again, then you've got someone who's contributing back to the economy and creating a, you know, providing a critical service.
Yeah,
we really need.
and also, you know, her son, who is, you know, she could get to events for him,
Right.
or whatever.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, if he's at Cape Tech, I mean, she couldn't, you know, he's there, and if she wanted to either was sick or pick him up, or just go see, because they have demonstration days.
They do, they really do, and there's a lot
going
of
on, so you know,
with
she can be
transportation.
involved and such. But having the case managers, you know, I think it probably at first people are, you know, it might take a little bit, but if they're the right fit together, then it really can help them,
Absolutely,
you know, stick with the program you may set up for them, because that's, as anything like that, you need somebody who's going to check in.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. It's that long-term personalized case management that we really find is what's making the big difference. And it's, you know, and so like in this particular client's case, it was her case manager that was determined to figure out a solution for Beverly and her son to come up with a housing plan. And, you know, that one-on-one connection, you know, that ability to have that long-term support makes all the difference in the world. And we're lucky. We're only able to do it because of support of groups like you guys, right? And towns like Eastham and other towns.
Yeah, well,
and
we
so
try to help provide something, but
oh, you guys really do.
But it also helps, I'm sure, in looking at when you do, you know, any bigger grant, that you can say local towns are invested in your agency. And I think that is one of the good pieces of, we can't provide everything for you, but we can say that we do want you around.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
And I
towns are a critical part of our funding, and we're so grateful for it. And so
that it does make
thank you all really so much. It's really been
well, and the way you listed everything, so we can really see so much of, you know, where it comes from, and, you know, all the different places that you are getting funding from, which is wonderful that they exist, but it does show that it takes a lot of work.
Does take a lot of work
to put all that together.
Yeah, it is. And actually, one of the things that we really loved that we were able to do this year was we finally, for the first time ever, published our list of in-kind donors. So you'll see the last.
Oh yes, at the end there were,
So like right now we've adopted family for the holidays going on. Right, so there's hundreds of people that are coming in and doing things that aren't necessarily a cash donation, right? But they're providing Christmas for, you know, family of four, or you know, one kid or whatever it is, and we wanted to be sure that we could count that. So it was pretty neat. We finally got it on paper. So you're always worried you're gonna miss someone, but
I know,
I know. A couple people we think so. Anyway, that's the nerd.
But it's extensive, so you start looking at it, and it's like, but it's also for, you know, to say, okay, well, that, you know, that business, I know, or those people, I know them and stuff. And you know, Eastham Super Ed is there, Eastham Fire Department, and you know, other people from town and such. So it is you know, we were speaking earlier, there's a lot of on the Cape, and there's definitely need, but there's also the other side where people are very willing to help.
Absolutely.
And, you know, a lot of volunteers. You have more staff, which is wonderful to see that you have hired.
We've got a big growing staff, right? And actually, and you probably saw, I think it's in this grant, the write-up about we have a new youth homeless demonstration grant. So we are the partners with Barnstable County. We are the organization that's leading the youth homeless demonstration grant for the entire Cape and Islands. It's actually the first time that we've ever actually sort of stepped out of just the lower and outer Cape. but this opportunity came up, and we actually have a team of 4 staff dedicated to doing youth outreach. So they've got a mobile program where they're actually using vehicles to go out and find young people who are 18 to 24.
Yeah.
And either homeless or unstably housed, and there's more of them than you
It's
believe.
that's a
Totally.
hidden group.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, so they're out doing that work every day, and we also have our host homes program, which we hope will start to really take off and become a great option as a housing model, where young adults are paired with a host, and the host is able to receive a stipend. It's actually generous. I think it's $1,000 a month of a stipend.
Wow.
So we're in some ways hoping it could be something where you could pair a person in need of housing with a person who maybe is on a fixed income and could use the extra money.
Because that's a significant amount of money.
It is a significant amount of money. And so it's generally a short-term match. It's usually around 6 months, but we have seen cases where it's such a success that it ends up being a longer-term connection. And, you know, I have hopes that maybe down the road, we'll see something like a workforce model or something where we could see if there's a way to pilot a program that could be something like, you know, if there were, there's a lot of people, believe it or not, who come here and work every week and stay in places like the Cove Motel or other places that are working. There's no place to live, right? So their house is off Cape. It'd be really interesting to see if there was a way to do something housing wise. In that regard. So just interesting.
Well,
but that's been a lot of our staffing growth has been that program.
So. Well, but that's because those ages, if you can start providing some stability for that age group, it's going to help them get through that time and then know that there are supports out there and begin to look ahead into their, you know, more adult life, you know, because they, for whatever, you know, things are not where they want them to be. They aren't, I'm sure they're not happy with being, you know, floating around from couch to couch, and you know, this.
And like, a lot of these young people are folks that we want to have stay here and be part of our community and our workforce. So being able to stabilize them, if we can do that and get them settled, it's a win for the region, right? It's a win for,
Well, because you can get them.
Other issues for developing.
And then if you can get, then in the community college, they can go to college if they got
for free now,
for free, you know, but you'd have to have a place to live and a way to take care of the rest of your life, you know, and such. So, but you need to, it is, and potentially they are leaving their, you know, their parents' home because things are not good there for that, for whatever reason. So
and I'm thinking about how many seniors there are who don't feel that they can sell their homes or leave their homes because their mortgages are at such a lower rate than any place that they could possibly like sell the places and go to. And so they're in larger homes.
I know it's interesting, isn't it, to think
there's a huge market. That's one of the issues with the housing market right now.
Well, we have a single family home problem on the Cape. I mean, that's really it's all single family homes. It's generally occupied by 1 or 2 people. And you know, then it makes a lot of sense as to why we have such an issue, right? We're a shortage. So if we can make these little connections here and there, it's
and they can, you know, this younger person can be the one who changes the light bulb up high, or you know, shovels the sidewalk or rakes the leaves, and you know, can also feel like they're contributing.
That's right.
In the housing, you know, because with a case manager, then they're going to be encouraged to, you know, do that type of thing and to really be a good resident in somebody's house.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but I think that could be, but there are, you know, I'm sure there are homes, there are people, because they're, you know, to sell your house.
To know those things.
Right.
I mean, we're I think pretty to knowledge. How do you get others?
So we are marketing these things. I think Mary O'Reilly is the youth case manager, or running the programs for the youth. And she does a lot of outreach with the churches, for example. The pilot program is really small. It's only 10 host homes. So she has sort of focused on the interfaith community and then other local organizations and senior centers and,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
try to find places where there might be interest of folks that want to be hosts. Because then it's a matter of also being sure that we're pairing people. There's a lot of thought put into the matching process. We're not just taking the next young adult and matching them with the next person. We really want it to be a good fit. But it's a great question about the marketing. We get things out on social media as much as we possibly can. We certainly use Facebook and Instagram a great deal. We are, we do a regular newsletter. So we have several thousand people that are getting that newsletter on a regular basis. And we certainly are trying to get stories in the newspaper and do radio and other sort of PSAs and all of that. But
as the Independent, that's where the Provincetown newspaper.
That's right. Yeah.
They
in fact, we just did a large ad, or maybe it's coming out this week, on our services sort of in general.
But even just, and one of their articles on that. But I just, because I think even through the senior centers, they might have one person, because, it's a particular person who's going to have somebody come and stay, but yet at the same time, it could be somebody that really is struggling and needing the company and the money.
You wouldn't want like a senior who was like having issues with getting around or things like that, because you wouldn't want a younger person to feel that they were responsible for someone.
That's the trick. I mean, I think that what they want to do is find a match where no one's relying upon the other person. It's really sort of just an organic, like a good fit where, yes, indeed, it maybe it's helping someone financially, but it's also helping the young person get some stabilization. So, I think Anthony, our case manager that's doing the matching, is paying a lot of attention to that, because also to make it a successful program, you want to have 10 really successful matches, right? So that's, I think, it'll be really interesting to see what happens when the demonstration grant is over, to see what we're able to come up with to say, this is what we think works.
Because it maybe it isn't going to be, or it's 50%, and then you figure out what
were the issues,
were the issues
and
such.
Absolutely.
But to have a pilot program is a great idea, because we do have a lot of homes that need have space in them.
That's right.
Have space in
Is
them.
there any time limit that your cases have that people,
That's a good
discharged out of the program?
It's a really, really good question. We do not close cases. We have something called an open door policy, meaning that, to clarify, someone might come in and work with us for a couple of months and may not need our services again. They may come in and work with us for a year or two and need extensive amount of support. Or we've certainly had people over the years who, and this has happened several times also with like a person in recovery, maybe, who comes in and works with us, who is getting some support at the time that they're starting recovery. They do really well. Maybe unfortunately they have a challenge or a relapse, right? They come back in and we wrap around just like we did the first time. So we tend to just sort of say it's an open door policy and never really close a case, just so that we're easily able to open it, back up and get back to being sure that we know what that person's history is. And
so do you use the motels and those sorts of things?
So the time that we will use motels or hotels is generally, it's always in the winter time for the most part. There is a program called In From the Streets with Duffy Healthcare. I'm not sure if you all are involved with that, but that is a program in the winter where when it gets below a certain temperature, we can access some special funds and hotel services from Duffy. And they will help us with that. And we certainly have had situations where we work with local hotel and motel providers to say, can we, we'll pay to put somebody up for a couple of nights. Can you accommodate this person? And we've had a lot of community support that way, because there are some folks, I mean, I would say at any given time, we probably don't have more than maybe 20 really chronically unhoused people that are out really living on the streets or living in the woods. But there are some folks that really choose to be in that situation. They don't want to go to shelter. You almost can never get into St. Joseph's shelter. It's almost always full. So, there's also just a lot of people who want to be in this community and want to figure out a way to just, go from
be out here.
Be out here. Yeah. And it happens, and we do everything we can do to make sure that, in bad weather situations that we're making sure that they've got this where they
So
need.
you think there's 20 people who are currently unhoused, who live in the woods, or?
I think at any given
And-
time, it's probably, you know, around 20-ish people that might be in that type of situation, but you know, it's not, you know, those are the folks that we're aware of. Now you could, you know, check in next week and it could be jumping. So I mean, I probably should be careful about it.
Yeah, yeah, but
it's
hundreds,
yes,
you know.
it's not,
Right,
it's
right,
definitely
right.
not hundreds, no, but it's a generally small number of people. Usually we are pretty familiar with who those folks are, or other organizations that work with homeless folks are also, you know, connecting in and just trying to provide people with resources. So, but we're lucky, you know, in this region, we have an amazing sort of safety net of services, and that's particular to the Lower and Outer Cape. We're very, very lucky. But it's because we've got such a great community that steps up and really helps. So
yeah, it's true, because I know like the fire department through rescue, you know, they know, you know, the ones that they have seen that are chronically in need and such, but then, you know, like Outer Cape Health through their Navigator program, and there's other places too that have the network that's to help people.
right.
But your focus is the housing.
On that, right. And I mean, I should say, well, it's great that maybe it's a smaller number of people that are chronically homeless. There is, again, a significant number of people that are what we would just say is unstably housed.
Unstable,
I think it was something like, we were looking at some numbers by the Cape Cod Commission, and it was something like 60% of people living in year-round rentals on the Cape are unsure that their rental will be available like within the next year. You know, it's like at that degree of sort of, it's just really unstably, you know.
How do you go about finding the housing? I mean, it must be a miracle worker.
So we don't, so this is,
I know.
Yeah, so what our team does is we're not really searching for housing. We actually don't really perform that service. We will help people with it, or we'll give them guidance around it. We are more likely to be focusing on how can we stabilize the situation that you're in, right? This is the first and foremost thing, is that people will come in and they'll have a very challenged financial situation. Oftentimes they've come to us very late in their situation, right? So it's already, things have really piled up, but we're helping them to say, listen, you know, your credit card bill and your utility bill, you know, we can deal with your utility, we can get them to stop the shut off, and we can hold your credit card for right now. Let's make sure your roof stays over your head. And what do we need to do that? That's more of the work that we're doing. And we might at the same time be helping people fill out housing applications. That's a lot of the work that we're doing, is giving, you know, and people will come in with a stack of, you know, 10 housing applications. It's really overwhelming. It's a lot of information, and it takes a lot of, you know, additional documents.
Like Section 8 housing?
Yeah.
Not, some might be Section 8, but it might be somebody just applying for affordable housing, or, you know, to get
A rental subsidy from the town or something.
Right, there's all sorts of paperwork that has to be filled out, or even just an application for a rental, right? A lot of places require complicated applications, so we're more focused on that. We're not necessarily searching.
With that, you know, they
want security.
months and security.
We're helping them then navigate. We are saying, for example, we might call 2 or 3 different organizations
To help them
say, could you help us? We're trying to help Joe get into this rental. And, you know, he's got $500 and we need to come up with another $1,500, and we'll call various organizations. And sometimes we have resources that we can help with as well. But basically that's more of the focus. Yeah, it's not as much really searching for the housing. It's more like, how do we stabilize and then come up with a longer term plan. So, and we're gonna budget too, right? There's folks that will come in, and this is the hard part, I think, sometimes about case management is, you know, looking at someone's monthly expenses and saying your car expenses are too high. Like, you really have to get into something that's more affordable. What are your options? Or just making little changes, you know, on how they're spending can make a big difference.
Right. Help them see where there are things, and help them understand that stabilizing them, that, you know, the treat they gave themselves or something is not necessarily a never again thing, but that you're going to get their feet back on the ground, and then help them move forward.
Right, let's get your roof kept over your head and then go from there.
But that's not an easy thing to do with people who are It used to be kind of chronically house secure, insecure.
Oh,
right.
Up that way.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is really, it
Yeah.
is really hard, and a lot of people, like I said, you know, our job is always to try to get people to come in as soon as possible.
Right.
And to not be afraid or embarrassed of asking for help, because a lot of times otherwise people wait
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
when we
And
have
all
to
of a
try.
sudden, yeah, yeah.
So.
Well,
Mm.
but it is, yes, but it does keep, we're really trying to keep people in our
We
communities.
really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So again, thank you all so much.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
thank
have any
you.
more questions or.
I don't think so. We are, we're under our own budget restraints and
course.
such, but we, do have high regard for the your organization and, want to be able to, give you what we can.
Thank you.
And
We appreciate that.
because we also know that it's plenty of East End people who are using you,
Yes.
and also that you are really trying to give them a better pathway forward.
That's right.
And what more could you want?
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. Absolutely. We would love to see everybody stabilized in our community.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah,
our vision.
yeah.
Like if we
Yeah.
could have a community where everybody has.
Right. That we
stability.
didn't
Wouldn't that
need
be
you
amazing?
anymore.
Yeah, that wouldn't that be? Would it be great? It'd be great if we
Yes,
come in
right,
here and
right.
the numbers have gone way down, and we'll know that some good things are
Right,
happening.
right.
So.
Yeah.
There was a family that you helped get into a place in Harwich, and they had kind of managed it themselves, but
Yeah.
helped over a lot of good advice. And then it came time for the oil heat, they had no idea about oil heat. And they didn't have the money to fill the tank. And then it was kind of leaving in the lurch. It was kind of weird. But anyway, I remember going down with her to the homeless for rent people. And there's a guy, I don't know, his office on over on Indians.
Yeah.
And he came out and gave his business card, said, look, this is what you can do, just call. And we're gonna try and they had to go down twice, maybe 2 or 3 times actually.
Yeah.
But they were reassured that they were then trying to raise the money from the church group. They were gonna pay for
A tank of oil.
Which they did right on time.
Amazing.
Right on schedule,
Yeah, that's-
the oil company, it worked out beautiful.
That's the kind of stuff that
Yeah.
happens around. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should also say this time of year, it's always great to remember that fuel assistance is available. It's a really important program.
Yeah.
And
But you-
people should be coming into our office to get those up. They can fill out their applications for fuel assistance. Many more people are eligible for it than they realize. It's one of the programs that has a slightly higher income requirement.
Yeah.
So you can make a little bit more money and still be eligible. So it's so important, right? As things get colder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get folks in.
I just, he coming on there Monday, tune into this and now.
Yeah.
People sometimes don't really know.
They don't think about it. And then he comes
No,
on.
right, it is.
And I would also just tell you all that if you haven't had a chance and you would like to come in to see our new location, we're at 8 Main Street,
Yeah.
Orleans now,
Yeah.
come see us. I mean, we're always there. We're, a big team now. It's neat to come in and see, kind of show you your dollars hard at work.
Yeah,
You get to
yeah,
come in and
yeah,
see. So if you
absolutely, yeah.
you ever
We'll
want to
have
come
to.
in?
Yes,
Yeah, or
yes.
let me know and we'll take you on a tour, and it's great to see. You get to really see firsthand.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and
really
because
cool.
you sort of moved yourselves out into the fray a little
That's
bit,
right.
which is,
Yeah.
but not so much that you're down far enough that people can get there, and they don't have to really be seen.
That's right. There's
Going
other
in.
businesses in the
Right,
area. So
right,
it's sort of-
right.
It's
That's what it is, just past us. So.
just past
Yep.
Snow's, yeah, and
Yep.
there's 2 attorneys and
Right.
insurance company.
So you could park at Snow's and walk down if
Right.
you wanted to.
Or
you
you
know.
could just be going into the insurance company and
Yeah.
nobody would know.
Nobody would know,
Yeah.
and it's marvelous and
Yeah.
such.
No stigma attached.
Yeah, nothing. No, it's been really, really great. It's been really transformational.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
come see us.
Yeah,
It's fun.
that's great.
So, yeah.
Well, and with more staff, you needed more space
We sure
because you
should.
were.
We're actually already like. We're starting to share offices more and more. There's gonna be 3 people in my office before you know it. Anyway, it's all good.
Yeah.
You're gonna say, I think I need to go to a meeting in
I
Boston.
think so. That's right. I have to.
Yeah.
Anyway. thank
Yes,
you
yes.
guys.
very much.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank
Bet
you for
we'll be
coming
touch.
in. Yeah,
All
I
right,
will.
take care. Have a nice night.
Okay. Yeah, it is. It's again,
Sometimes it's so heartbreaking though.
I know it is heartbreaking because you want to give them enough money to just put an addition on this office. And
Yeah, or I don't know, I hate hearing the stories. And
I
knowing-
know,
But-
it is that I know. Well, you want it so that they would go out of existence, but that's not going to happen. And most likely more people are going to be needing their services.
Oh my God,
but
I
it's
know.
amazing the numbers of East.
Really good.
Yeah, that's much fewer than I would have thought.
Different places.
Yeah, actually,
Yes, yes, but I think it was
Probably.
we do have more of the middle that are
Yeah.
making it okay, but it's some of that middle that need to be.
That they're helping to.
Yeah,
Stay there.
yeah, yes,
Stay.
yes, and such, but you know, they,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, yeah,
But I would think there'd be fewer places to, I don't know, I think about like when I lived in like Worcester or Cambridge or
Yeah.
that there would be more places to go to get things. Like to like beg for something or to like try to get free food or like there's a lot of that stuff available, but you have to physically go someplace down here.
oh, yeah,
Oh, and like.
I don't,
Kitchen or something?
yeah, or like, I don't know, dumpster diving or
yeah, yeah, there, and we don't have that.
we don't have a lot of the being able to stand on a street corner and, you know, like sell a newspaper and,
Seen that once. So.
yeah,
Just the other day.
that woman.
Yeah.
yeah,
Getting roses out.
yeah. But when I was in Cambridge, you couldn't walk around the
Right,
block.
right.
Yeah.
Without-
Sometimes it is.
And when I was in Worcester, oh my God, that was,
Yeah, my son works for a group in Boston,
yeah,
and he didn't want to walk around too much because he would see people that he was,
yeah.
you know,
There was a
dealing
guy
with.
that used to be like, if I hated to drive a certain way, because there was a guy that would like slam on your car
Yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah,
police would
yeah.
get called almost every day on him. All of a sudden
And
he
so
wasn't there
yeah,
anymore.
yeah, but by having the youth, I think that is like wonderful that they have
Yes,
taken that
Yeah.
on, because somebody needed to take it on, and they already have
yeah,
the experience with the case management and such.
right,
But to that age group is so vulnerable,
Right.
and you know, they're already pushing away at, say, their parents and whatever, and maybe school was not easy for them or just didn't click for them.
Yeah.
And you know, where are they going to go?
I
But
know.
if this is the place they know, and then they're going from couch to couch and have, you know, they need the support of somebody
Yeah, well, that would be a
else.
great thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and somebody,
Makes-
right. Right, and somebody who's going to speak the same language they would be, you know, relate to them and not be their parents telling them, you know.
or just somebody who had an extra room and needed a little extra money and wasn't gonna be all up in their business.
Right, right. I just think that, you know, some of these things are great stuff,
You
so,
can do, put two seniors together too.
yep. Yep,
Yeah,
that could happen.
Yeah.
Well, all right,
It's a trick.
Yeah.
it is.
Well, and then if they, you know, most people here have a house and you have an extra room all winter. But then comes your family, somebody's gotta sleep in the tent in the yard.
Yeah, yeah. My house was small. We put a little addition on it, and so it, you know, so it isn't, it would be hard for me, you know, but I then at the same time feel lucky that I don't have a huge house that I'm now trying to deal with, because I could see that happening, you know, you end up, because there's no option. Where do you go to? There's no, you know, senior housing someplace that you could sell your house and move into it and still be
Right.
in the place that you love.
yeah, there isn't any option.
No.
No,
Even very, you know, little here.
even the little tiny condos, the 2-bedroom condos on Route 6 are 700,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know somebody who moved into one and likes it, but
Seems to have a lot of apartments, you know, that whole, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they do.
across
They
from
have
the
a couple
Sparrow.
of different spots. Yeah, yeah.
And then they're building another one.
Oh, the old Cape Cod 5 is becoming all kinds of,
Right,
yeah, apartments and stuff. Yeah,
Doing a good job.
yeah. Well, they have the places to sort of,
Richest town on the Cape either. I would have thought it was like. Or Osterville. Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
yeah.
But I think like I've heard that Chatham, there's a lot of money there, but there's also a lot of poverty.
Huh.
Like from all the people who were working in the restaurants and supporting every place, that those people are living there, and it's very poor. Like Newport, Rhode Island is very poor. Like
You're talking about the.
like it's
town residents.
yeah, like you were talking about out in the Berkshires,
Yeah.
there's like no middle.
Right.
There's up and there's down.
Right.
All right.
I think here we're lucky because we have almost no really up. We have just
Yes,
middle and
yeah.
down. I mean, not that we're lucky that we have the down, but we don't have the,
This guy?
we don't have that many of the really. There are a few, but
Yeah, there are some,
Yeah.
but not as. Okay, so next week we have,
Dave's on the, my
Yeah.
husband's on the,
yes, next week
he's on
we
the
have
Board of Assessors
Independence
and
House
the,
coming. And
planning
it
board.
is the only one that we
So,
have next
He does
week.
everything.
I
sorry.
originally had. for
She was trying to make me not pay attention.
Oh, okay.
That's needed.
We have Independence House next week, and
Oh, I love
initially I
them.
was holding some room for Jackie, but she is now coming December 4th. So I'm juggling a few things, but that's fine. So Jackie's gonna come December 4th at 6:30, and then we'll probably have the Children's Place after that. But next week is Independence House,
One.
just one, and not till maybe 7. So we'll have enough time to discuss the meeting, tomorrow's meeting, and sort of if there's any piece of it that we want to go to think about.
Yeah.
So because one piece is to be thinking about our application itself. Is there anything different we want to do with it, or more or less? So just be, you can get it on the website. If you go to the Human Services, you can click on it and print it or look at it. And they do use it, in these, but to see if there's anything we want to change.
I've heard that you sent the attachment, what Orleans was using as their, as their application.
Yeah.
process. That was real eye-opener. Be nice to, I'm not sure how many other towns are gonna make their, I guess it's probably all available on other towns on that public website. But their applications, if they're coming to this meeting, to be able to
Yeah,
see.
see
variety
theirs.
of
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Because I don't know, I haven't myself gone, and that will be something we can ask everybody. Is it also available on the website? It should be. But
I'm just, it threw me for a loop. I said,
Yeah.
well, I don't wanna-
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Oh my- oh my God.
You don't have to come if you don't want to. And I feel, we'll
No, it's
go
nice.
first.
I thought it was a wonderful idea until I read.
Until I read what it was. Sounds like a great
Just read
idea.
their application. The addendum with the application from Orleans
Yeah.
was just very,
It's like, 14 pages.
yeah.
And it's all legal. It's all
And do you think
legal.
people really read it? I never read that stuff. I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Well, there's pieces at the end that you had to sign when you turned in your application, so you sort of had to go through it.
It's kind of like the Apple, when you sign stuff for Apple, it's all like.
Yes, I agree. I
I
agree.
agree. I agree. I've never like reading it. I love reading
Okay.
it.
In which I will, okay,
All right.
everybody in favor? Aye, okay.
Bye.
8:05, 8:06, and the meeting is adjourned.